All right, we're rolling. Oh yeah.
Hello.
I don't really know where to start, but there's a thing that you've been saying about how to describe what you want to bring to the stage, and I can never remember exactly how it goes, but it's something like making burlesque creepy and sideshow pretty.
Yes.
Where'd you come up? How did that come about? Because that's a unique take on it.
Well, it's all come from being exposed to new genre and new things when you're a theater nerd. Yeah. So high school, I was the art nerd, theater nerd type person and whatnot, but I wanted to do set and stage design. I did not want to be an actor or anything like that. The stage actually terrified me. I still have a little bit of a stigma of that still left over with having a hard time speaking on stage, but doing everything else. But I started with burlesque first. In the midst of doing that, I've done merch as well and met bands and other performers that way from other cities and whatnot, so it wasn't just my little niche of it and stuff. But that's how I got my foot in the door. Started out with a troupe out of Greensboro, Winston-Salem area. And then when Wendi Williams came on, it's my best friend, it expanded to something else. So we were doing traditional burlesque, forming our own little troupe. We did glitter bomb burlesque. But we wanted to expand with it, and that's when we started doing the more androgynous, gender bender type acts and whatnot. I enjoyed it tremendously.
Who was doing any kind of gender bending outside of like drag shows?
Exactly.
Was anybody in burlesque really messing around with?
Yeah. The group with Vita in Raleigh, North Carolina, at Legends. Hysteria Cold was a part of that. There was a couple others as well, Rachel Riot. But with that group of people, you were seeing such a great mixture of burlesque, and it redefined what burlesque was for me and for Dawn as well.
There was a big boom that happened right about those years.
Right. And just wanting to continuously expand on it, but continue to make it weird and uncomfortable and that type of thing, but still wanting to do these acts solo-y that were like really pretty and glamorous and more traditional burlesque. So a lot of times we would get booked. We didn't get booked individually as much. It was always glitter bomb because they wanted that mixture of the two, of it being like pretty, but it's also weird and creepy and awkward and uncomfortable and stuff like that. But I wanted to go further with it with myself personally, because I'm a body piercer by trade. Been doing it for over 20 years. And I love the circus, and I always wanted to be the tattooed lady. So it's like, I have an opportunity to expand it into something bigger than what it's been and go into a new genre. But I was having a hard time figuring out how to do that because I knew of some people that were doing a mix of that. Scarlet Storm is one of those people. But she was always more up north or further out, not local to North Carolina and whatnot. And then we all happened to meet, and that door swung. That door's gonna swing wide, and it did. And I was like, oh, you can do that. Yes. Yeah.
So, because you are the girly pincushion.
Mm-hmm.
It's like kind of a natural, obvious thing.
Yeah.
I say all the time that the best characters are exaggerations of what you already are.
Yeah.
And if you're already stabbing holes all the time, like
Yeah.
know your way around a needle real well.
Yeah. So it's like, hey, I can totally do this. This is going to be something fun, and I was able to kind of bring myself into this world, and then I've learned, different other tricks and trades along the way, and I'm just like, oh, this is so cool. I feel like I can do and accomplish way more things than I could when I thought I was into the world of burlesque and I knew what was going on, which
Nobody does.
No, it doesn't work that way.
The person that says that they know exactly what's up with burlesque, I think, is a damn liar or ignorant.
They are.
It's never the same as it was yesterday with any art.
No.
Like, nobody's ever got it fully figured out.
Yeah. That's what has been interesting, especially over the last, say, 8 to 10 years with the genre of it, because there was a lot of things that I used to book and was excited to book again, and then when they found out that it wasn't me and Dawn anymore, it wasn't, damn right, Wendi Williams, they didn't want to book the solo stuff. They wanted that mix of the duet acts and stuff like that, because they said the other stuff was just too weird. It's not burlesque. It's just not. That's not the same. And I understand wanting, if they're wanting all of their performers to stay in a certain lane, that's fine.
Yeah, the show has a theme. I get it.
Right, but a lot of places, a lot of venues aren't even giving other forms of it a chance, and that's not cool. Because it's not that just traditional, like a fan and kind of thing. It's like, you can have more fun than that. We can do better. Yeah.
Man. Yes. Yeah, you and Wendi Williams been through a whole gang of shit.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, there's fucking monster challenges that were put in front of y'all when you were very first with getting going with Glitter Bomb. Because you weren't everybody's favorite pick for quite a while.
No, until they saw us. Until they saw what we did, and they were just like, oh, wow, the greatest compliment we ever got, and it happened a couple times, which was great. People come up and be like, you two are the just best couple and the cutest, oh my God, in your routines, or you just feel it, you can see and feel the energy between you two because you're a couple, and it's like, we're not a couple. No, that's all that act, that's all of that with that.
Oh, you're on Next Door Neighbors. Will you tell them about what?
Yeah. So there was a time period when I went on tour with Hillbilly Casino. Hi guys. And I was gone for a good amount of time, and we had this adorable sweet bear couple living next door to us, and we kind of became friends with them, and we'd go out and about or do shows or whatever, and they talked to us and that kind of thing. So we became friends. And while I was gone, Dawn was dating someone at the time, and they were coming to stay for a little bit of a time and then go, because they were traveling and whatnot as well. I came home from that tour, and I couldn't barely even get out of the car, and the neighbor comes over, oh, hey, you're home. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Oh, how was it? It was great. We had a wonderful time. Well, you just need to know there's been a man here. While you were gone for like weeks at a time, and then they come back and they go, there's been a man here while you've been gone. And it was just like, I just had to play into it, act appalled. I was so upset.
What the fuck?
Come
Go
busting
inside
in the
and
house.
start smacking hands together and
because
shit.
it's the summertime. It's the windows are open in the house. You can hear the neighbors. They can hear us and whatnot. And I walk in, and I'm just like, hey, and I give her a hug, and I'm like, hey, give her a hug, and I'm just like, what the fuck have you been doing? And she's just like, what? And I'm trying to like lead her, and she's just like, she knows what's going on. I'm like, oh yeah, they're saying you fucking around on me. And so yeah, we had to play with the neighbors for a little bit. And, yeah, we came out later, and they're just like, hey, I'm just like, hey, and they're just like, hey.
Did you ever let them know?
Oh no, no.
So when they left fleeing the country because of the stupid government and the elections, they left thinking that you were still a couple.
Oh yeah, that everything was just fine, and we had a blowout, but after that, it's fine. We acted like it was fine, standing outside like an hour later, and they were just like,
what?
What the hell? These bitches.
You definitely need to get her on for another podcast.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Can you give them a little taste of what I'm talking about?
There's a lot of road trips that went along with Glitter Bomb Burlesque, and we went and did some awesome shows. We had some wonderful times that cost us way too much money to do, and this is why people should pay their performers, because they don't understand what they go through to get to you to do the thing. So damn it, people. But yeah, Alaska was fantastic. We jumped on that kind of last minute-ish. It was like, okay. But yeah, we took a little Honda Element all the way from Lexington, North Carolina, cross country, clearly through Canada, into Alaska. We can say we've driven the Alaskan highway like, I don't know, 3-4 times back and forth and whatnot. Yeah. And then drove it all the way back home as well. So a lot of sleeping in the car on the side of the road in Alaska. If you tour Alaska, you can totally sleep anywhere you want. They'll have signs where it's like, don't sleep here. There's bears. And there are really bears. So don't sleep there. So.
Yeah, don't feed them.
Yeah, don't do that. If you're driving through like the Rockies and a lot of this other weird parts of Alaska that still connect to Canada, if you're into rocks and geology or any of that stuff, like it's beautiful because they're taking just semi-precious stones and they bust it up for gravel going up the mountain. So you can just pull over and there's just red jasper and agate and all this stuff just right there.
They're just grinding
big boulders of it.
Make driveways or something.
Yeah. Like, I'm just gonna take it.
Mix it in with the asphalt and tar and whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, that's ridiculous.
Most beautiful driveway in the neighborhood. But yeah, Alaska is definitely an adventure. Canada, get your money exchanged. They'll keep your change if you ain't careful. These little small areas outside, little country spots and stuff, they're mom and pop. They're just trying to be there. But yeah, they'll be like, here's your change. And you get back and you go to figure it out and you're like, oh shit. They ripped off a buck or two.
Didn't one of them really like American pennies?
Yes. Okay, so the other downside in Canada is alcohol is way more expensive than it needs to be. And of course, my dumbass, well, Dawn can share this with me because neither one of us thought about it. We just go in and we're like, all right, we'll get some cheap beer, we'll get some PBR, we're going to get some High Life, whatever the cheap beer is. And that doesn't exist there. And that's imported beer because we're in Canada, it's a whole different country. We're in a whole different place. So like PBRs were like $48 US, which in Canadian is like $60. It's like, what are you talking about? It's way more expensive. So
yeah, I don't know the conversion rate to Canada from that many years ago.
We're just trying to find like the cheapest little 6-pack we can get, which is Canadian beer, and boy howdy, that is some powerful, strong. It's like a hurricane, you know what I mean? So it's more like a malted beverage, high octane, put you on your butt kind of thing. So the benefit is it tasted horrible, but it had like, I don't know, 20 some, well not that high, but very high alcohol content.
Like 8.
Right. So
whereas that's probably like 4 or 5.
Right. Our little lightweights, with also being horrible to taste, we'd have like one and share it just to, But we go in to buy this beer. It's more expensive than we thought, and we're trying to count out change and whatnot. And the lady sees, because a lot of places, if you have U.S. cash, they're all about that. They'll even give you a little bit of break if you're paying with U.S. So we show her what we have, and she's like, okay, awesome. We put down some pennies, and she was like, oh, fantastic, you have pennies. And Dawn was like, you like pennies? And she's like, yeah, I collect pennies. I collect U.S. pennies especially. And I was like, hey, I got a whole zitty bag full of pennies in the car. And she like goes and gets her pennies, and I gather up all the ones that I have, and we're just dumping out these pennies and stuff. And basically, we gave her maybe, I don't know, $1 and some change, a little bitty bit, 9 cents worth of pennies, and she was like, take the beer. And we were just like, okay. And we did. We took that beer. And yeah. All because she collected pennies.
That's wild. Like, because if you can drive to well, I guess he drove really far. It may not be possible for her to just drive over the border, hit the bank,
right,
and
it's
be
not,
like, here's
yeah.
$10.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would cost her too much to go get them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. But yeah, fun little things like that. Somewhat happened through Canada. One other funny thing that happened to us is when we were driving through the Dakotas. I'm trying to remember what part, but if anyone's ever drove through this area, it's the wall drugs. Wall drugs, and the big signs, and it's like 5-cent coffee,
for a couple 100 miles,
all this stuff. And we saw those signs, and at the point that we saw those signs was like 4 o'clock in the morning. We're still driving, and we're like, oh my god, we would love to get us some 5-cent coffee. That would be great, because we're already trying to like not spend money, as we go. Only what we need is really 5-cent coffee. That'd be great. And you're driving, and you're driving, and you're driving, and you're driving forever. We're crossing into another state, and we're like, where the fuck is this wild drugs? Like, it just keeps going for fucking ever. We finally get to it. This is like a couple days later or whatever, but it happens to be early in the morning. It's like 5 o'clock in the morning. So we pull up into the area. They're not even open yet. We're waiting around, whatnot. We finally get to it, and it's like this big fancy buffet dining it was more than we thought. It's still like that saloon, middle of nowhere, like it's still old school, but it was kind of pricey. So they were nice to us. We shared a meal. We got our cup of coffee. We went to walk out, and we saw they had a saloon, and we were like, all right, we still got a little time to kill. Let's walk over to this saloon and see what's going on. Well, maybe we'll share a beer, you know? And we go in, and we sit down, and there's a dude there, and he's like, hey, how's it going? Just walks around, and we're like, okay, cool, they're open. And we sit there, maybe 15, 20 minutes, and all of a sudden this lady pops out, and she was like, we're not open. Who let you in? And it was like, well, the door was open, and there was a guy, like, right there beside the bar, and he was like, hey, good morning, and walked towards the back. So we assumed it was fine, and she was like, no, we're not open. Boy. She says it under her breath, fucking boy. Apparently that was her son, and he just didn't care. He was just like, whatever. Just let people come in, just sit down at the bar. She's like in her pajamas. She's like, we don't open till like way later in the evening. We open at like 5, 6 o'clock. And she's like, oh, you know, it's 5 something in the morning. So we're like, we're so sorry. And she was cool and let us sit there and gave us beer anyway. And then we left. Yeah, she was like, I'm so sorry. He wasn't supposed to let you in here at all. I was like, well, he didn't let us. He just didn't lock the door. Yeah.
Well, that's
it was a
kind
saloon.
of letting you.
Door opened. We walked in.
Yeah, that's how you know it's open.
That's how you know it's open. And we just sat there, and she just come out like, ah. Not, yeah. And of course that made us, ah.
The glamorous showbiz.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Full of adventures of mostly the same stuff in different accents.
Yeah. Good times.
So, like, your act is, it can get fucking, like, it may not be for everybody. Some people faint at the fucking sight of a needle or a drop of blood.
Yeah.
What's what would you say is like the most ridiculous ass reaction to your show? Whether it's like it being too much for people or just overly impressed or whatever it was.
I would say the one that sticks out in my mind was actually when we were in, is it Jacksonville, North Carolina, where the military base is. We were with Rusty Dawn.
Oh yeah, that would be Fayetteville. No, Jacksonville.
Oh, was it Jacksonville?
I think so.
Anyhow.
Wilmington?
No, it's not Wilmington.
No.
But anyway.
Where that Marine base is.
It's at the military base. And their little spot there, that bar venue area, that's great because it's all floor and you can walk around and all that. So, you know, there's like pool tables around the area and there's like a little sidebar and then the bar. So people will come up for the show, but they always kind of stand at the pool tables. You know, there's something to lean on or right there at the bar and stuff. But it's all these military guys, big, bad, tough, you know, kind of thing. And I start doing what I'm doing. And like the first needle that I put in my arm, I always try to make eye contact. It's more fun that way. I see you. And they're all just like cringing and like, oh my God, and covering their mouths and that type of thing. And 2 of them moved from the front to like the other back pool table, like away from it. They were just like, oh my God. And covering their faces. And I was like, oh, I'll come get you.
Gotcha.
And I did. So I do a little bit more, come back around and that kind of thing. And it's when I got to start doing my stomach. I walked up to the guy, I just walked right up to him and was just like, just made good eye contact. And he was just like, oh, like he got nauseated. And I was proud of myself. I was proud. That's what yeah.
Well, you weren't born with this innate ability to stab yourself all over the fucking place.
No.
Like that's a learned thing or just some conditioning.
Yeah, that's a better word for it is conditioning. Yeah.
What was yours like?
Just that. Like when I did it the first time, I just did it. There's no practicing to do this. There's no warm ups you do or anything like that. Right. I think the only thing I may have did was
go to the gym.
Yeah, because I knew the places that I felt would be the most appropriate and easy for me to work because of the places where I do have like loose skin that just pulls away, which was my arms. So I did sit there for a bit and kind of, relax that tissue and whatnot, just like if you were going to do a surface piercing or deep tissue or suspensions and, stuff like that. You're going to, work that tissue, separate it a little bit. But I was so surprised the first time I did it. It was like, oh, okay. Okay. Then there's other places that I discovered that, like, for the first time, new spots or whatever. There's moments that I'm, going for that shock value and stuff like that. So when I realized that as soon as I grabbed my bottom lip, that crowd just went, and made a huge gasp. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is happening. And you just pull on it. But going through that area, it's like, okay, that's not too bad. But I got the bright idea one night to pull them both together and just fucking get them both at the same time. But my main point when I'm doing is trying to line them up and veer so I don't clip my nose, because that's not cute.
But neither is this.
But that's the thing. And there's a jeweled end at the end, and it is. It's going to be pretty once it's there. But you don't want to have a bloody nose necessarily or pierce my nose through my nose or anything like that. But yeah, I just remember hitting that top tissue, and when I turned it to go, that's when my eyes were just like, blah. There was like fucking nerve endings. Don't do that. I haven't conditioned those to make them just not. So there's certain places it's like, fuck, that's gonna bite. But yeah, this is the upper area that'll get me a little bit. This lower part, whatever.
Yeah, we'll definitely be cutting in some pictures of you with your bottom lip out like that, because they're cool. So fucking dramatic.
Awesome.
Talking about like how you get there, and you make it sound like just getting over the pain is some kind of simple shit, and I guess it kind of is after a little while.
Well, here's the thing. For example, this was really felt for me personally when we were on lockdown due to COVID. We were doing like the video shows and online live stuff and whatnot. It's exciting to know that there is a camera and there's a crowd of people that are excited to be entertained.
Uh-huh.
But you're not getting that crowd reaction like you do when you're in a venue or anything like that. So you don't have anybody, audibly gasping or screaming or anything like that. Or
you're not getting any of the payoff
claps,
that makes it feel
you're not
good.
getting the ohs and any of that. So I get so much encouragement from their reaction. Like the crowd is feeding me to continue to go bigger and better and go higher and weirder. That's where I started doing needling my ass. And it was like, oh, okay, you like seeing weird shit. Guess what? I like showing you weird shit.
Yeah, with that audience reaction thing, it just occurred to me that would be like, maybe it's the season that made me think this, but it would be like a haunted house scare actor walking around their empty house and just going boom.
Right. Yeah.
Fucking nothing.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. It's
there's no. You have to go find other people to
yeah.
Get any sort of joy out of it.
Exactly. You need that crowd reaction to feed the energy of it, and that's what helps to make the nervousness go away. When I first get on stage and I first started acting, my insides just get so overwhelmed that I just and go. But if it's a quiet crowd and they're not making sound, oh my God. What are you doing, y'all? Do y'all not know how to do this? Did we need to give you instructions beforehand? But when people really know how to react and go for it, that's just gonna
a well-trained audience, warmed up.
Yeah, it's just gonna make. If people are into what you're doing, that's definitely gonna make for a better show. But I do love those first timers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I love it when I get to be the first sideshow act that a person has ever seen.
Right.
Because likely they've only ever seen something from the movies or TV or some shit.
Yeah.
And both of us are most of our closest co-workers and friends. Nothing like what you're gonna see in the movies or the books or anything.
Or anything like that. Yeah.
Like, so when we're the first live ones, like, oh boy,
oh yeah,
just ruined you for all the other sideshows out there.
Right.
You're gonna be expecting something else, and you're gonna get the television version.
Right. Right.
Well, not really, but I don't know, not this.
Yeah, people are being deprived.
I've got a little too much ego on that one.
Yeah. As far as the whole genre goes, it's sad. It makes me sad. There's not much exposure or sideshow being a common word, a common phrase.
I don't even really use it to describe it unless somebody's already in the business.
Yeah.
I'll say circus sideshow.
So yeah.
Or circus, but not for the kids.
Yeah. But they still are like, what's that mean? So there's this whole new genre of human being to introduce to it and whatnot.
Oh yeah, that would be just a quick, easy way to tie it up while you're talking to a cashier or something. You gotta go. Yeah. If someone wants to sit down and talk, I'll be like, oh yeah, you know the sword swallowers and fire eaters and stuff. Now imagine going a little further than that.
Yeah.
You're talking about how people help, like an audience can make it so that it's easier to deal with the pain and whatnot. There's like huge, vastly more amounts of people. How does that fuck with you? Because like I know most performers, until they've had a fucking gigantic thousands of people audience, are terrified of it.
It would be
some people still are after they've had it, and some people not.
So I'm gonna have the nerves. I have the nerves every show. Doesn't matter how big, small, whatever. It's always once I get out there and get going with it, and as long as I'm getting that reaction, I'm doing my job. Bigger crowds, there's just more nervousness beforehand, but typically once I get out there and get going, and if they're enjoying it, then it's gonna be okay. It's the precursor to the whole thing where I'm just like, I'm gonna die. That I'm not.
Right. I've just gotta, for myself, I just gotta psych myself up and pretend like it's just another show.
Right, yeah.
When it's in fact like, oh, what's up?
Yeah. I try to stop thinking about what's out there and just think about what I'm supposed to be doing. And once I try to focus more on like, I'm doing a thing and I need y'all to shut up, which is not what I want them to do, but you know what I mean? Maybe it's more like the thoughts in my brain that I'm telling you shut up, but...
Right.
Yeah.
You've done a little bit of little TV. How'd that feel? Like, I know it wasn't your act or nothing, but you were showing off your art is the one I'm thinking of?
Yeah. Well, that's a different thing, too.
It's still an audience, and it's performative in some way.
Well, it's the same when I've done seminars for the colleges and whatnot. Because with my shop that I had back in the day, we would do seminars at UNCG and things like that about the history of tattooing and body modification and piercings and origins and things of that nature. And I would do some anatomical demonstrations and whatnot on stuff. Because people always ask about genitals, because once they find out that's what I specialize in, they're like, well, you have questions. And I'm like, oh, I have answers. And that's...
Dicks and tits, oh my God.
Right. But that's the whole thing is I have questions. Oh, I have answers. So when it comes to the art or... body modifications or anything like that, that's like my field, and that's you have a question, I have an answer kind of thing. So it's way more formal to me. It's more textbook. Or text. It's more textbook. It's more that type of thing. You're not presenting art or style. It's right. I mean, there's going to be art and style with anything you do, but not as much as like a circus performance. Right. I'm not. You're a textbook with an accent. Yeah. It's just answering questions.
Flair.
And it's just the same that it's weird to me that I can do these seminars in front of like 200 plus kids in a college forum. But 150 people at a venue doing a show, and you're like, hey, go introduce somebody. I'm like, hey. That is terrifying. That is absolutely terrifying. But I can do a seminar, no problem.
Right.
Because I know it's
hosting different. And emceeing is a whole weird animal.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I respect anybody who can do it just so effortlessly. Just, oh,
right? Like,
it's like when we were doing Alaska and we got to the Blue Marlin. They're great. It looks like a smaller place on the outside, and it is, but it's perfect. It's great. But they have like this ginormous marquee for this little bitty building, and it was just like glitter bomb burlesque and lights and Call Me Bronco, and we were so excited because we got booked to be with Sam Bones and Call Me Bronco. We were supposed to be the tag-along thing, and we get there and it's us, and we were just like, yeah. Hey guys, did y'all see that? And they're just like, what the fuck? And it's like, yeah. That was when, okay. So we'd already been told that when we were going into Alaska to be kind of careful because, you know, traveling and whatnot. We're like, okay, cool. But a lot of our female friends that have Sam Bones, you know, lived in Alaska, and other ones who have traveled through and whatnot, they're like, you know, be careful. Guys out there are a little assertive. They can be and whatnot and forward and. Wow, we learned that night. It was straight up just, you know, standing there talking to Dawn, and, you know, instead of being like, you know, oh, hey, hi, it was just like, how you doing? You know, and you're like, oh, wow, that's, hi, you know. But they were very eager to meet and talk to women and people, and especially with what we were doing, you know, we're doing burlesque and whatnot. One fella almost got popped in the mouth real hard. It was after we done both of our solo acts, and then one of the bands was playing, and we were standing over at the merch area, and Sam Bones was over in that area too, and I was like leaned over the table, but I'm in costume. Dude comes up, just slaps my ass, and I go to turn around, and Sam Bones has already like got him by the shirt collar, just like, what are you doing? And I was just like, no, sorry. He was like, I'm sorry. He's all freaking out and turned blood red, like he knew he did wrong. But it's almost like, but you woman, I man. You know what I mean? That was very much throughout Alaska. If you're female and walk into a business, a bar, especially bars, venues, they're just gonna be like, whoosh, hey ladies, and it's like, oh goodness. So most of them are harmless, but just still be careful. But yeah, that dude almost got wrapped in the mouth real hard, and I just remember telling Sam, I was like, no, it's all right. And I looked down, I was like, come here a minute. And he was like, yes ma'am. I was like, what size shirt you wear? He was like, a large. I was like, he needs a large shirt, and the gold glittery one, not the basic glitter bomb shirt, the nice one. And he needs these buttons and these patches, and what size, Sam? He needs one of your shirts. And I was like, you're buying this, aren't you? And he was like, yes, ma'am, I am. And just handed us money and took it. But he was so sweet. He apologized later. He tipped us like even more later and whatnot too. He was like, that duet thing y'all do is amazing. It was just like, oh, thank you. But yeah, Sam Bones was just like, oh. I was like, that's how you handle that. Don't automatically be like, which you can. Sometimes it's called.
Well, it wouldn't have worked quite as well,
right?
If it weren't for the
right.
Initial. Fuck you.
I was like, listen here, buddy. You know how rude you were. You were this much amount rude.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder what he did with all that merch.
Who knows? Hopefully, he went home and loved it every day. Because it's glitter ball.
Well, he was so inspired and tickled by the act that he lost control of his senses.
He did. Absolutely.
That's either expensive or painful. You don't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, this is some wild ones. Talking about Alaska, the very first time that I went, which would have been the early 2000s, I got a very quick rundown from...
We were doing Alaska, and we got to the Blue Marlin.
So you're traveling with a woman. What they say around here is because there's so few women, it's not if you'll get to, it's when's your turn. And I was like, oh, that's how they think here. He's like, not all of us. But that is a saying you will hear. I was like, all right.
Yeah, you just had to mind your P's and Q's. But I will say, when we were in Anchorage...
I have had a perfectly fucking pleasant time in Alaska.
Yes.
But it's, you know, it's to do whatever the fuck you want state.
Yeah. We came across a different breed at a place called the Pioneer. We had the day off, so we decided to walk around Anchorage and just check stuff out and whatnot. And we came across this one bar that had like 50-cent PBRs and like free tacos. And we were like, oh, we're broke as shit. This is perfect. Let's go into the Pioneer. So we walked in. As soon as we sat down, it was a guy that walked up. He was like, ladies, and they give you chips for beers. Like, so you give them money and they give you a chips or a couple chips or whatever, and you give the chip to get your beverage. And we sat down.
What kind of law circumventing bullshit is that?
I don't know. But we sit down, and dude's automatically like, ladies, and just is like, with these little chips, and just sits them down, and he's like, on the house, ladies. And we were just like, oh, God. Got a little nervous and whatnot. And there's a couple other people at the end of the bar, near the little taco area and stuff. And then there's a group of guys that come walking in. And as soon as those dudes walked in, the bartender just came right back up to us and was like, y'all all right? You good? And it's like, we're fine. Like, we just cracked open this beer. It was like, we're good. And he was like, okay. So, where are you from? Because you're obviously not from here. And the whole time he's talking to us, he's just like looking over our shoulder and whatnot, shooting shit with us, had a little chat and whatnot. He did not stop talking to us like one-on-one until those people were like at the far end of the bar. And he was like, y'all need anything, let me know. And then he kind of walked off. And Dawn was like, I think we have a protector here or something. Like, did you see that? And I was like, oh, what? And she was telling me what had happened. But yeah, anytime someone new would come in, or if any man would like start to walk towards us, he'd be like, ladies, here's a couple more chips or whatever. You want a taco? I'll watch your stuff here. Cover your beverages if you go get tacos or anything. It was the most like trying to be incognito but blunt as hell, like trying to watch over us. And it was kind of nice because people didn't really start to talk to us until he got busy. And then automatically, as soon as he wasn't there, hey girls, how you doing and whatnot. So when we came across the dude that claimed he had a yacht off the coast of Anchorage, and he would love to show us his yacht. And he worked for MTV. We were just like,
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
In what capacity?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Right, yeah. And he was just trying to sound like he was cool. He wasn't. He bought us dinner.
Right.
Yeah, it was cool. But other than that, it was like, no, we can't. We're on tour. We gotta go. Sorry. Gotta get up early in the morning.
Get up early in the morning. So, like, it's not all fucking troubles and stuff.
No.
What's like a big highlight of your performing career? Like the one that like really made you like high for days after getting off stage.
Okay, so this was one that was a big highlight, I think, for Dawn and I, kind of both. Don't want this to offend anybody in this genre of the world of burlesque, but with a lot of these burlesque competitions and stuff like that, I don't see this industry as a competitive thing.
It shouldn't be.
It's we're all in this together, and we all just have different styles, and we should share all of the styles that we have. But we decided we got invited somewhat to do the Iowa Burlesque Festival. We applied, we got in, it was great. We did our Top Yourself duet, which is one of our most favorite acts that we do, and we fucking killed it. We fucking slayed it. Like, we felt good with it, 110%. The audience, the crowd, like, loved it, ate it up. All the other performers that were standing side stage that watched us and all that were just like, oh my God, yeah. So we were so proud. We didn't win shit. We didn't win nothing. No, the troupe that won, it was very weird because it was just like this synchronized dance routine. There was no revealing, there was no stripping, there was just chairs and these people doing this synchronized thing. Now, they did it perfect. Like, they were all on time and everything, but it wasn't burlesque.
Great dancers, great choreography,
right?
But not burlesque.
It was not burlesque at all, and that was it for the duet. It was us or them, and we did get bummed out that.
Right.
We were like, wow, wait, but this was a burlesque competition. Burlesque. You know what I mean? It wasn't that if they didn't like our act, fine, the judges or whatever, if that, crowd loved it, our peers loved it, we loved it, we were proud, so word. But all that mainly taught us was that this is not our lane of burlesque. And even when they have a burlesque competition, they're not judging burlesque. So it was like, oh, okay, this is definitely a field that this is not a portion of this that I want to be a part of. Not that I don't support people that do it. Like, if they want to do it, go for it. It's expensive. It's hard. You're paying to do your art. You're paying to do your art. And I hate that. You should be paid to do your art. If you're at that level and you can do it, then you should be paid what you're worth in your art.
Yeah, if you're not getting paid what you're worth, then don't sell it. Do it for yourself and your homies, or whatever.
Right.
Like with the competition TV shows, I've seen a bunch of acts of all different fucking genres go in and get really fucking bummed when the judges don't treat them right. Like, they don't see what the fucking thing. I'm like, dude, if you go into one of those shows expecting to win or even place, you're not coming in from the right headspace.
Right.
You're going to do something fucking ridiculous on TV. That's how I think you should take it. Or, for me, ridiculous. Or, like, do what you want to see on fucking TV.
Yeah.
And, like, if you're fucking stoked about what you did, then
yeah.
So fuck what the judges think.
I
don't know. Art isn't sport.
Right. Now, it would be cool if there was a...
It's not a contest.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's not a portion of that industry that I want to be a part of or anything. Which, like I said...
Reminds me of most Battle of the Bands. All of those bands have to go sell tickets on their own.
Yeah.
So it's basically fucking pay to play. And oftentimes whoever sold the most tickets is the winner.
Yeah.
And that's fucking dumb as shit.
Yeah.
It's exploitive.
Sure, yeah. I mean, the only nice part for the performer in that aspect would be the crowd, how large the crowd, the number of people.
Yeah, you can't exploit the exploiters.
That's going to be seeing what you're doing and that type of thing and whatnot. Because, I mean, that's, for a lot of the burlesque performers that I've come across, none of us can do what we do on TV. I know damn well I can't do what I do on TV, unfortunately. They'll probably interview me. They'll be like, hey, let's see that. But it's not actually going to make a cut or anything like that.
No, you might see half a second of yourself in a promo, quippy, fucking whatever.
Yeah.
No blood, no tits. Right. And that's the rules.
Yeah.
Not, well, tits, but not pasties.
Yeah.
I mean, just a little bit.
Yeah. But still, I can't do what I do.
And so many, like, torture acts. I guess that's an old term for them. But pincushion, that sort of thing. Torture acts that are amazing, and they've gone out for those big shows, and so why did the show fly them out?
Right, that's
put them up in a
point.
hotel, give them their per diem, all this, fade them, and then just like knowing full well that they cannot air it.
Right. Yeah, I've done that. I've been there. Was in South Carolina. I had shows up in Virginia, Huntsville, Virginia. And drove. I had to drop off another performer, drop them off here, and then drove to South Carolina like nonstop after the show. That to get there early in the morning, to get into costume, to sit and wait for like 3-4 hours for us to do an act. This was when I was with the troupe that we knew darn well was not going to get put on television. It's burlesque. Did it the best I could, and yeah, we didn't get on it. At all.
Right.
I was so frustrated with that. I was so annoyed. It's like, this is costing me money to come do this. We're not getting anything from this. That we know this is not going to happen. Why am I here? I could be in my bed sleeping, recovering from actually doing a show where I made money.
I like that when I asked you, like, for the one that made you feel high for days on it, that what you came up with was one where you lost a competition, but you still felt fucking great.
Yeah, we felt great, and we learned a whole lot. a whole lot as far as like a world that we were striving so much to get.
Tell the camera. I'm gonna get you another one.
We're gonna take a small.
Hey, you just tell the camera what you're talking about. You were losing a competition, and you were feeling high on it.
Yeah, like that was the thing with that whole festival. We had a great experience. We got to stay with one of our dearest friends, Miss Stephanie Brink. Met some really awesome people. I met Tempest Storm. I got to meet Lulu DeVille.
Tempest Storm, is that the one with the matchsticks on her titties? Flaming tassels? No. Older, oldest living at the time?
Red hair?
I can't remember.
Okay, see, I'm not sure.
I remember another one of the old timers that was claiming to have been the first person to ever do flaming tassels.
She dated Elvis?
Nice.
Yeah. But yes, with that festival, we learned a great deal. We learned that this certain genre of burlesque that we were fighting and trying so hard to meet up to the standard of and do and whatnot, and even changing acts that we loved to do to fit more of that era, and then it was just like, no.
It lost its spark.
It did. It lost its whole thing for us. And we wanted something more genuine and things that actually connect with the normal everyday person. Everyone's not trying to be quite so bougie, and I'm not being an asshole when I say that. But yeah, it can be more relaxed. It can be more fun and whatnot. That's why I want to make burlesque creepy and sideshow beautiful. I can take something from both sides of it and make a beautiful thing. Because like you were saying with what I do, it's, torture type shit or torture art.
I think that's an older carny term that I don't think people are using all that much today.
People still feel that way about it. Yeah. They still are cringy and things of that nature. And there's a way to do it where it looks beautiful and elegant, and it's just like these super talented piercers out there that do plate piercing projects that are large scale.
Beautiful shit.
Yes, absolutely. That's what I want to do with where I'm at in entertainment and doing burlesque.
Oh yeah. With you talking about getting out of being kind of squished into, like, trying to shoehorn your idea into the wrong channel. Mm-hmm. This is kind of along those lines. There was I don't want to say exactly where we were at, but up there in Pennsylvania when you went up with us, this was at a strip club, just traditional strip club, but kind of ratchet.
Yeah.
Okay, ratchet as fuck. Fucking fun place.
Oh yeah,
but,
absolutely.
The dancers back there were kind of blown the fuck away about, like, can you tell me a little bit about what those dancers said to you? Like small town fucking ratchet ass strippers that probably hadn't gone that far out of their town.
Oh, it was great. I was revealing a new act and a new costume and all that stuff, because in that venue there's no holds barred. So with the piercings that I have in my nipples, I was like, oh yeah, I get to play off that. So made skewers for those, and I was so excited. So I built this whole new costume.
No pasties.
Yeah, so I built this whole new costume. Did a color I've never played with before. Did a bright yellow, kind of light blue kind of thing, but big flowing gown and like the beautiful, I was proud of this costume, but super sparkles everywhere. And as soon as I'm starting to pull stuff out of the bag, they're all looking over and, and they're seeing what Scarlett's pulling out and Holly's pulling out all her bits and stuff, and we're applying makeup and they're just looking and they're just like, oh wow. They're come up.
Probably like the only featured dancers, even though you're not featured dancers, but like close enough that they've had come through that club in a very long time.
Yeah. So I get all my costume on, my makeup's done, I'm fixing my hair, and I've made this I found this vintage 1960s canary yellow hat and attached all this stuff to it. So I'm putting it on, and I turned around to Scarlett and I was like, is this crooked? Is it sitting funny? And she was like grabbing it and fixing it and stuff. And they just turned around and we're just like, where'd you get that? Where'd you buy that? And we all three just turn around and look, and we're just like, which one? And they're all pointing at different things. And it was like, well, all of it, we
trash,
made it.
Goodwill, and craft stores.
Right. We made it. We gemmed it ourselves, and you make all this stuff. And we're just like, oh my God. And I just remember one of the girls looking at Scarlett, and she said, "You make money doing this?" And Scarlett was like, "Yes, we do. That's why we're here." Yes, absolutely. And they're like really excited to see what we were going to do just from our costumes and stuff like that. But the really cool part was after we did the shows and everything was said and done, several of the girls came up to us and was like, "Can you help us do this? Like, how do we start doing this? We don't want to do what we're doing anymore. How do we do what you do? Can you teach us? Can you tell us some things and whatnot?" And we all had the same reply, and it was like, yeah, just do it. Hit up venues and book it. You just do it. But you gotta scale down kind of what you're doing, because you don't have to be as revealing. And they're like, we figured that, we saw that. Like, wow.
Right.
And it's pretty, and it's, oh my goodness. And when I had one of the girls come up and was like,
I mean,
what
it's more than smashing my asshole into this dude's face.
Yeah.
It can be. I mean, there's nothing wrong with either.
Yeah, and we got, it's like when all of us even performed, like there's the birthday party that was there for that and all those people, but the other performers were out there and they were like front and center and just and it was funny because we got down, we were like, oh my God, I feel so bad. All the money that those girls just made, they just gave it to us, and they were really wonderful, and many of them was like, we want to learn how to do what you're doing. It's like, it's more fun. It's less stressful, believe it or not, and it's way more fun. You have way more control. You keep more of your money. Like, yeah.
And you don't have to be in the same building every day, which
you're traveling.
For me is a soul sucker.
Yeah, if you're traveling and get to see things and go places, like, you don't get to see as much as you think you do necessarily. There's a lot of driving involved, but it's worth it. And yeah, you're in a different place every night.
Yeah. I feel like we touched a lot of bases here.
Yeah.
I just remember, I was there at that show up there too, and just watching the local dancers being like inspired, and I was like, oh, fuck yeah, y'all did your job fucking well.
Y'all didn't see that.
Edit it out.
But yeah, I would say that's the part that I've enjoyed the most when we have been able to do more of a variety show lineup for me personally. Because I've typically, especially with Glitter Bomb and the stuff that I did solo after that, I was tagging on to an event that was happening or going to happen, whatever.
Oh, right.
I refuse to apply for a show. I will not put in an application. Youth Theater Bazaar, I will put in an application. But if you're a local thing and you're like, you need to apply for this, no.
Yeah, as per my last email, this is my fucking resume.
Right. Like, what we want you to do is tell us if you want to do this show, tell us what you're going to do, send us a video, send us photos, send us this. Well, your event is 7 months from now. So no, I am not going to do that. It's not, no. But yeah, when you get to jump onto different shows and stuff, you meet so many different people that are in different. That's why I love doing shows at Legends. Like, they would hit us up, be like, hey, are you interested? Or they would post, hey, we want to do this show. Be like, hey, I'd like to do it. And they're like, okay, cool. What are you going to do? Pick your song. Like, but they would always have like a theme. Metal Mania, that we had the gender bender ones, and those were always fun things to do. We did the homage to good Lord, Tim Curry. That was one of my favorites. We did the John Waters one. That was fantastic. I got to be John Waters.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those ensemble casts that are only for one night only, whatever. My favorite part of those ones is either the dressing room, which I don't really tend to spend too much time in because I don't have anything to do back there most of the time. Smoking patio. The exchange of ideas with these dang geniuses that you don't get to run into and work with all the time.
Right. Yeah.
of all genres.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Super fun stuff.
well, I think we might have nailed it. I think that might be a podcast.
All right.
Is that a
I
podcast?
think it might be a podcast.
Well, yeah.
Hey, y'all.
Nicely done.
Awesome.